postpartum period and the transitions that a woman goes through physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually is just not spoken about enough. There is a lot out there on newborn care and caring for a newborn and the things that we need for a newborn, and it's so easy to forget that along with having a newborn comes a mother that is going through postpartum. Whilst everyone can have a very, very different postpartum experience, I do believe that there is a lot of transitions and ups and downs that we go through as women, as mothers, when we have a baby and when we're in that season of life. Whether it be your first baby or your second baby, there is a transition that we go through and there is a recovery that we're going through during that time, no matter how we delivered our baby into the world. And so in this video, I want to share with you the 10 postpartum essentials that I actually use to recover. I've just had my second baby who is actually sleeping down here, so if you hear snoring, that is why. And I want to share with you the postpartum essentials that I've used to recover this time round. But there is also a couple of things that I also used last time round as well inside of this video. So without further ado, let's get straight into number 1. Disposable knickers. I lived in these when I was in the hospital, especially because I was in the hospital this time around for 5 days. I just literally wore disposable knickers the whole entire time. They are just so much easier than having to constantly change your pad. Even if you have a Caesarean delivery, you still generally bleed. I definitely did anyway. So the disposable knickers are just so good because you put them on, you take them off, and you can put a fresh pair on. No, they're not the cheapest thing in the world, but they are so worth it just for those first few days postpartum. The second postpartum essential is big knickers. I actually ended up ordering a ton of big knickers on Amazon in a massive panic this time around, because once I'd got home and I'd used up my disposable knickers and I was then into using pads down there, I realized I actually don't have any like big granny knickers that I could wear. In fact, I think I had like a couple of pairs that I had that I bought for when I had my daughter 2 years ago. I definitely needed some more big knickers to put the pads in. So yeah, big knickers, especially if you have a C-section, whether that be planned or not planned. Your scar is right by your knicker line generally. I usually wear seamless thongs, and whilst they are really soft and really, really gentle, they did say to me that they don't like knickers to actually sit on the scar. It's either below or above. So yeah, some high-waisted granny knickers are absolutely essential. Even if you are having a vaginal delivery, I just feel like you want something comfy. So if you don't already, make sure you get yourself some cotton big knickers. Number 3 is something I actually used with my daughter when I had a vaginal delivery. I didn't use as much this time around because I had a C-section, but I did use it because I was still bleeding, and that is a peri bottle. I did mention it in my hospital bag video, I believe. Yeah, that was absolutely essential, especially first time round when you have had a vaginal delivery. You cannot wipe down there. Because I had a C-section, I could wipe down there, but I did use it when I was in the hospital. I packed it anyway, and I did use it when I was in the hospital just to prevent any infections in that area. And whilst I didn't need it, I do think it is an essential if you are planning a vaginal delivery. Not so much if you're going for a planned C-section, but I did actually still use it this time around as well. The next postpartum essential is nursing bras. I bought a set of nursing bras from H&M 2 years ago when I had my daughter, and I have not worn anything else since. They are so comfortable. I don't know how I was ever meant to go back to underwear bras. In fact, I still have them in my underwear drawer because there's like that part of me that's still holding on to the version of me who wore sexy bras, and maybe I'll go back to that version of me someday, but right now that is just not the season of life I'm in. These bras are so comfortable. I breastfed my daughter for 6 months, and for the entire year and a half after that, especially while I was pregnant, I've worn these bras, and they're just the best. They're just the best. They don't feel like you're wearing a bra. There's nothing about them that's uncomfortable. They're obviously easy access for clipping up and down when you're breastfeeding, especially if you're out in public. Like, they're just so good. I'll leave a link down below for the nursing bras and also anything else that I mentioned in this video. If I can find the link, I will pop it in the description box down below. The next postpartum essential is also on the topic of nursing or feeding your baby, and that is nursing support or feeding support. So this can look like a rocking chair or a comfortable chair to feed your baby with, but this can also look like a breastfeeding pillow. Both of those things have been very, 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 very supportive for me in multiple ways since having Rocco. So for example, with the nursing pillow, not only do I use it when I'm actually feeding him, and it's so good, especially when I'm in bed and I just want to be comfortable, but it's also really, really good to actually prop your baby up in after you've fed them and in between laying them down. With my babies, they seemed to both be quite sicky babies. After I fed them, I couldn't just like lay them down straight away. So I found that actually using the nursing pillow to put into Rocco's next to me crib and actually prop him up on after a feed, but then before actually laying him down to go to sleep, has been a game changer. And it must just be really, really comfortable because he almost always falls asleep on his own in that. I do want to make a caveat with this. I never leave him on his own in the pillow. I never let him sleep in it when I'm sleeping. Like if I'm there and I'm watching him, then I can have him pumped up on the pillow, but otherwise I take the pillow away. And what I do after I fed him, if I do want to put him down, I can put him laying up on the pillow, sort of like leaning back in the pillow where like his bum is on the cot, but then his like upper body is prompted up by the pillow, and then let him fall asleep, let his milk go down, let his digestive system start kicking in and digesting the milk. And then once I'm ready to go to bed after that, I'll just bring him down, take the pillow away, and then obviously he's in his next to me crib safely, not surrounded by anything else in there other than him and his blanket. It's just a really good like transition between having milk and then also like you want to put them down, but you know if you just lay them down straight away, they're going to be sick or they're going to be unsettled, turning side to side, and just like the milk's going to keep coming back up. If you've found that with your baby, or if you do find that with your baby, that is a really, really good little trick that I found with the pillow. And the nursing chair, I just find that during the postpartum season, it is so full. You are constantly doing something, whether that's for your baby, you're feeding them, you're burping them, you're changing them, you're helping them get to sleep, you're settling them, you're doing their laundry, you're cooking food, maybe you've got another child or other children. Like there is always something to do. It is such a full season. I have found having a comfortable rocking chair that when I'm feeding Rocco in the evening, I can come into his bedroom. It's calm, the lights are dim. I've got these amazing little night lights. I'll also link them down below. I'll pop a picture up on the screen of what I'm talking about. But I put those night lights on. It's really dark in here, and I feed him and I'll rock on the rocking chair, and I find that to be so supportive because realistically, I don't get much alone time right now to actually rest, to watch a movie, to chill. I've had to get really creative finding ways to chill whilst I'm still doing the things that I'm doing. So for example, when I'm doing his bedtime routine, I actually have found that to be a really restful and calming time for me to actually wind down from the day myself, because I have a comfortable chair that I feel snuggled into myself. So really my point with this is that actually emphasizing making feeding comfortable, whether that be with the pillow, whether that be with a chair, whether that be with something else that just makes feeding more comfortable so you can relax, because ultimately they're nice and chilled out because they're either having their milk out of a bottle or they're breastfeeding. That should be a time for you to rest, to be present, to check in with yourself, to check in with your thoughts. And so if you're sat there and your back's aching, or you're holding your arm up because you've got nothing underneath, or you're holding your baby up and your shoulders are up here, that is not intentional rest. So really finding the things that can support you in resting during the time you're feeding your baby, because you are sat down, that gets to be a time where you feel rested and you're also feeling rejuvenated. So being really intentional about finding the things to actually support that. Number 6 is the final thing on the topic of feeding your baby, but these are an absolute must-have. These have been a game changer for me this time round. I didn't buy them last time round, but I did invest in them this time round, and that is silver nipple cups, or silverettes I think they're called. Ultimately, these are just little cups, I'll put a picture on the screen here, that you can put on your nipples in between feeds, and they just help your nipples to repair in between feeds if they're dry, if they're cracked. I just wear them honestly as a preventative, but especially if my nipples are dry or cracked, they are just a way to rehydrate your nipples, because you squeeze a little bit of breast milk into the cup, and that is actually supposed to heal your nipples in between feeds. And I also believe that silver has healing properties within itself, so the fact that the cups also helps to heal the skin. These are an investment, but if you are breastfeeding or planning on breastfeeding or even just pumping, these are such a game changer, and they're such an easy way to prevent your nipples from getting cracked, but also help repair them if they do get cracked. Number 7 is comfortable pajamas and comfortable clothes, and just wearing things that feel comfortable. I am not kidding you when I say I'm pretty sure I lived in pajamas every single day for the first 30 days postpartum, and it healed me in more ways than one. It was just so supportive to feel comfortable whilst my body was physically recovering. Whilst I was in pain, I wasn't uncomfortable in the things I was wearing. So just wearing things that feel good on your body. Nothing too tight, nothing too restrictive. If you are breastfeeding, just really think about button down things. So if you are going to invest in a pair of pajamas or some nice loungewear, really try and find things that either zip up and down or button down so you can have easy access to breastfeed. Treat yourself to 1 or 2 pairs of pajamas or some comfortable loungewear that you can just rotate between and ultimately just live in for the bulk of your postpartum period. It is just the season to be living in pajamas, and I would literally wear pajamas, wear them all throughout the day, shower, and then put on a new set of pajamas. It was just the perfect and only thing that I was going to be wearing whilst all I was doing was breastfeeding, recovering, and changing nappies. The only thing you need to be wearing postpartum is comfortable pajamas or comfortable baggy loungewear. The next thing is a postpartum supplement. We take supplements throughout our pregnancy to make sure that we are filling our body with everything we need whilst we are pregnant and growing our baby, and then it's almost like as soon as we have that baby, so easy to be so focused on them that we forget about ourselves and making sure our body is still getting all the nutrients we need. Whether you're breastfeeding or not breastfeeding, I really don't think it matters in this regard. It is still just as important to be taking care of yourself, to be making sure your body is getting all the nutrients it needs and is working at the optimal level it can. Obviously, you are barely sleeping, you are barely resting. It is just naturally harder to be getting in all those nutrients with perfectly balanced meals as well, because we are so busy with the baby and just recovering within ourselves. I just find that having a supplement just has your back on the days where you're maybe not as on top of your food or your nutrient intake. You just know, like, if you take that supplement, you are covered whilst you want to be getting those nutrients from real food. Having the supplement for me just gives me that baseline that I know if I didn't manage to get in a smoothie or a yogurt bowl or a salad or a soup that day, I knew that like I had that supplement, and as I'm providing for Rocco, I'm also providing for myself as well. Number 9 is going off the back of the nutrient topic, and that is making sure you are getting in your nutrients through food or drinks and making sure you are fueling your body. Again, it is so easy in the midst of looking after a newborn baby. You may be in pain from your delivery, however you delivered. It is so easy to just let that go on the back burner, especially because you're not probably doing your usual food shop, you're not meal prepping, meal planning, all those things kind of go out the window. So it's easy to just reach for the easiest thing like a bar or a ready meal. But I really just stress it is so important that you find ways to make reaching for healthy foods, whole foods, fruits, vegetables, healthy protein, etc. an easy option. I really found something to be so supportive this time around was making the healthy option also the easiest option. Whilst it did work out a lot more expensive than my normal food shop, I just gave myself grace during this period. Some of the things that I was buying was ready-made ginger shots, smoothies, juices, soups. I found some amazing vegetable soups online that were full of goodness. I was really happy with the ingredients and it felt really good to be able to just grab a soup out the fridge, open it up, put it on the stove and eat it, and it was just so quick and easy. Mueslis, ready-made salads, 70% dark chocolate, filling my cupboards with nuts and nut bars as well, that again I was happy with the ingredient listing, and just really filling my cupboards and my fridge and my freezer with easy go-to options that were healthy and were nourishing. I did originally plan to actually prep healthy meals when I was pregnant, but in the end I just didn't have the energy to be doing that, so I actually went with just shop bought options. But if you do have the time and you're watching this while you're pregnant, and you can either prep them yourself or you can have other people help you or prep for you or bring you meals, that would be amazing if you could just stock up your freezer with those ready meals. Like I said, I did plan on doing that, but it just didn't happen in the end. So making sure one way or another you have the healthy option as the easy option is just going to support your body in fueling it with all the goodness it needs and deserves as it's recovering from not only your labor and your delivery, but also your pregnancy and everything your body has been through. It deserves good, nourishing food. And not only will that help you with recovery, it will help you to just feel better on a daily basis, especially as you're not going to be getting much sleep. Just giving your body the energy that it needs and deserves is going to be absolutely game changing. And I did feel really good postpartum this time round, and I really put a lot of that down to the food that I was putting into my body and the intentionality behind that. The final postpartum essential that supported me massively in recovery is support. I do just want to acknowledge that not everyone has support around them, not everyone lives close to family or has a lot of family or has family that are able to help them, and I do send you so much love and so much strength. I don't know how I would have got through my recovery this time around without the amazing support that I had, and just like having someone there to be a helping hand. My mother-in-law actually moved in with me for the first, I think it was the first 2 weeks, which was such a blessing, just having that support and that help, especially with my daughter, because I couldn't pick her up because I'd had a C-section. I couldn't actually pick anything heavier than my newborn during that time. Like, that was really tough. So just having the help with her, having the help around the house, like, it was just so supportive, and I will forever be so eternally grateful for the support that I got from my in-laws, both my mother-in-law and my father-in-law, during that time. And again, it's such a hard one. I wasn't sure whether to include this because I know that support isn't always available for everyone, and I so get that. But if you do have support and you can get support, my advice to you would be to take it and allow it in. The first time I was postpartum with my daughter, I didn't allow in support. I didn't want it. I didn't allow myself to have it. I was honestly too anxious to even let people help me much with her. I felt like I had so much to prove. I wanted to prove that I could do it all and that I was a good mum and I knew what I was doing and that I didn't need help, and actually in the end that just hindered me in more ways than one. So this time around, just allowing myself to be supported, saying yes when people are like, do you want this or do you want help with that, actually just being like, yeah, that would be amazing, thank you so much, rather than thinking yes but saying no, was just so supportive. And I wish I could be there for every postpartum mama and be the support system for any of you watching that don't have one, but obviously that's not possible. But I just hope and pray that anyone watching that doesn't have the support around them finds support in some way, whether that be from a midwife or your care provider or a neighbor or a friend or someone in your family or a partner. I just really hope that someone in your life can give you some form of support, even if that is through meals or doing your laundry or just helping around the house or just holding the baby while you have a shower. If you don't have anyone around you that can give you support, really just thinking like, okay, what can I do ahead of time that will support me during that time so that I can just focus on myself and the baby. So that might be organizing ahead your nappy caddies around the house, so that, for example, if you've got an upstairs and downstairs, you've got everything you need on both, so you don't necessarily need someone to go and get you the stuff. So when you're pregnant, just being really organized with that. It might look like prepping your meals ahead of time, doing an online food shop list of like all the meals that you'd like to order and have them maybe on an online shopping list that you can just click a button and get them delivered to your house. Just really thinking about the things that you do or have to do day to day and asking yourself, how can I actually prep ahead of time so that I don't need to do them in the future? Even a perfect example of this is I have in that cupboard at the end a stock full of wipes and nappies. I have got, I think, about 15-20 wipes in there, and that is because I knew I'm going to be using baby wipes for the next however many years, so I may as well just stock up on it now, so that now I'm postpartum, like I haven't needed to go out to get nipple creams or nappies or wipes because I've just stocked up on those things. So as I've run out of them, I've just come and got them from the cupboard. Does that make sense? So just really thinking ahead of time of what are some things, some jobs or some responsibilities that I will have postpartum that will continue on, and how can I just prep ahead for that? It might be with products within your house, stocking up on random things like toilet roll. So you're not thinking, oh my god, we've run out of toilet roll and have to run to the shop. I have to ask someone and may not have that person to ask. Does that make sense? Like really just either allowing in support from others or brainstorming and getting creative with ways that you can be your own support system. And that will really be mainly prepping ahead of time for some of those things. So there you have it, 10 postpartum essentials that I used to recover during my postpartum period. I hope that these were helpful. I hope you got some ideas that maybe you didn't know before. And if any of these were a surprise to you or were really helpful to you, please let me know down below. I would love to chat with you. I will leave any of the links of the products and things that I mentioned down below, and I will hopefully see you inside of my next video. Mwah. Bye guys.